Hello guys and welcome to Yuzhno-Sakhalinsk, Russia. This is my hometown and today I'd like to show you around. This is a relatively small place with only 200,000 people living here, but it's the biggest city on Sakhalin Island where I happen to live. This is the map of our city. As you can see, it's very small. It only has like a bunch of buildings. Alright, I'm kidding. This is the map of a local hospital. So we're gonna start with this place, not because this is the best place in the city, but because I live nearby. The building in front of you is the Victory Day Museum, World War II Museum, and right next to it there is a very typical for a Russian town thing, the tank monument. There are tank monuments, I think, in every single Russian town. And right next to the museum there is another typical thing, a church. By the way, the whole thing is quite new. The whole complex was built at the same time about 5 years ago. So you might be wondering why there is a weird combination of tank and church. Well, might be weird to you, but that's a quite typical combination in my country. In Russia it's quite common to take wedding pictures by the tank monument. Not because people love tanks so much, just because in small towns there are usually no interesting, no beautiful or fancy places at all, so the best you can find is the tank monument. And speaking of the military thing, right now I'm looking through, you'll never guess guys what I'm looking through, but I was looking through the cannon. Don't worry, I'm not gonna kill anyone, this is just another monument in my town. This is Yuzhno-Sakhalinsk. As you can see, it's quite small. We are right here now, the Victory Square, and now we're about to go there. It's another square, and then we're gonna go there, which is, it looks like it's a railway, right? It is a railway within the park, which is, in my opinion, the nicest place in Yuzhno-Sakhalinsk. In spite of the fact that Yuzhno-Sakhalinsk is a small town, it's quite tourist friendly. You see, there are many signs in two languages, Russian and English. Most of the street signs are in Russian and English as well. For example, this is the Gorkova Street, named after the famous Russian writer Maxim Gorky. I don't know guys if you have that kind of plant here, I mean there in your country, but this is called Lopookh. And I think they can be found in most Russian regions. Our region is famous for our very big Lopookh. So now we're going from one square to another. There is nothing unusual and interesting to see here. You see there are steps right there. Let's see where they're going. Let's see where they're going. And they're going to, bam, nowhere. So this is another square, it's called the Glory Square, and all those gentlemen are the heroes of the war, World War II, which by the way partly took place in this island. This part of the island, by the way, used to be Japanese until 1945, the end of World War II. In a lot of places you can find this picture, it looks like fish, and it's not only because we love fish, although we do love fish, it's because this is Sakhalin Island. This is what it looks like. This is the Glory Square and also the monuments to the fallen warriors, and this is the fire. It's sort of like a sacred place. I don't think that the sacred is the right word here, but by the way, right next to that place there are people taking sunbathing. It's been an argument whether you can take sunbath near such place, but I think that most people agree that it's not a big deal. By the way, in case you ever see that kind of fire in Russia, please don't try to touch it or extinguish it, because it might be considered even as a crime. I remember a couple of years ago some dude from my town was trying to barbecue sausages or something like that on that fire, and he was arrested right away. Alright, and now we're approaching probably the best part of my town, and this is the local park, of course, my favorite place here. So this is the local park, it's called the Yuri Gagarin Park. Yuri Gagarin is the first human in space. I love coming here almost every day or every other day for a walk or for running. And this is the hero himself, Yuri Gagarin, first human in space. It's a nice quiet place with fresh air. It's not big, it takes only about 20 minutes walking as slowly as I'm walking right now to walk around the whole place. As you can see, there's a railway here, which is not typical for parks, but we're gonna go a little further and you'll see what it's all about. The train is for children. You can buy a ticket and take a ride. It doesn't really go anywhere, it's just a ride around the park. And this is where you buy tickets. I don't think I'm gonna take a ride now. One of the places that children enjoy, the obstacle track. Let's come closer and see what it looks like. There's about a dozen of obstacles here, and most of them are pretty hard even for me. This one looks okay. Okay, let me try it. One step after another. Not hard. Pretty fun. Okay, I'm alive. And this one is a little harder. It looks like it's easy, but it's hanging on two chains, so it's hard. Oh, hello. I see you got a nice house here. Alright, see you around. And this is a scary monument of a butterfly. Oh, probably it becomes not that scary if you step away a little and look at it this way. This metal dinosaur is a bookkeeper. You can open that box and see what's inside. There are books, mostly very old ones, and you can take any book. Of course, you're supposed to leave yours instead. This is a food truck where you can buy some food, which I strongly recommend you not to do. And there is some ice cream place, which is great. And there is some tea, coffee, donuts place, which I don't know, I never tried them. Oh great, this is exactly what I need right now. Alright guys, quiet. It's my local small friend. But anyway, let's continue walking. Let's go somewhere else and see some other places. So I wanted to buy some water in the grocery store, but it doesn't look like they are open for business. So let's go there to that little place and buy some kvas. This is a newspaper stall, and you might be wondering why this is called a newspaper stall if there are no newspapers, just toys. Well, there are newspapers, they're just in the back, you can actually buy them. It's just they put the toys for display because they are more popular than newspapers. So I decided to go over the road for a while, and this is the building where I used to live. It's so weird to see the windows of the apartment where I used to live. Oh crap, what is that? Something very old. Okay, what do we got here? There wasn't that playground when I was living here. I mean, it's not exactly playground for little children, more like outdoor gym with a lot of equipment. Yeah, it's quite big. There is a basketball place. You see the guys playing. Someone's definitely not recycling. So let's see what kind of equipment they got here. Chinese trash can. Swings. Well, that place is quite big. Yeah, and here we have a few bars. This is a machine, another machine. That guy played basketball, and a bunch of benches. If you take a step aside from the main road, you'll probably see some of the very old buildings. This one looks like early 20th century. Yeah, it looks like middle or early 20th century. And the building behind it is very new, as well as that one. Tree mushrooms growing right here. If it was a video game, I would try to take one and eat. Probably would have gained some bonus. But since it's not a video game and I only have one life, I'm not gonna do that. Poнял. So I was passing by and that old lady asked me to hold the thing because she needs to go home and turn the water off. Все? Все вроде. And this is another thing that you might find if you step aside from the main road. You know, it's great to step aside from main road sometimes. I don't know what happened here, but it looks like there's been a fire and everything has burned out. And it still smells like there was a fire recently. I don't think it was long ago. Wow, poor people. But anyway, let's follow that lady in pink and get back to the main road. This is a very typical bus. I mean, there are normal big buses. Oh no, it's so loud. But it's quite common to use minivans as buses in small towns, like in this one. And by the way, Here is a newer bus coming. You see? New fancy bus and an old one. And that's a normal, standard, big bus. So there are three generations of buses here. Old one, a new big one, and new small one. I think this is the newest one. They started buying them this year. I think I'm gonna take a bus too. This is what it looks like from inside. Let's look in the window. Nothing unusual there. And you need to be wearing a mask when you're taking the bus. Oh, I think it's Space Jam and Black Widow, right? I've already seen Black Widow. So right now we're in the central part of the town where they have most of the shops and businesses. When I visited this town first time in my life, I was fascinated by how many people there are. Yeah. And this is the biggest square in my town, and if you are visiting, you will probably visit that place too. This is the city hall. The square is called Lenina Square. This is the statue of Lenin, the guy who sort of started the Soviet Union. Well, visitors usually come here to take pictures, but to be honest, this is probably one of the most boring places. This is a quite terrible example of advertisement, where you take a nice looking building and put a lot of PowerPoint 2000 advertisement on it. A lot of people ride bicycles in our town. It's quite popular here. And of course there are bicycle stops like this one, bicycle parking places. But it's not really safe to live in like that. You might not find them later when you come back. This is a fast food place and everything looks not tasty. I don't think I'm hungry. It looks like the camera has seen some shit. So I decided to step away from the main road again, from the main streets, to show you those plants. They grow everywhere and they're quite tall here. I mean, you remember I showed you the smaller ones and I mentioned that there are bigger ones as well. So this is a big one. It's not the biggest one because sometimes they are big like that, but it's quite a big one. You remember I showed you playgrounds? Well, this one looks a little depressive. That building right there, the student dormitory where I used to live when I was a student. I lived there for a while, then I rented an apartment and lived with my roommates. I wanted to also show you the shop that I loved very much, but it doesn't look like they're open for business. So this is the dormitory where students live. It's funny to see that place again so many years later. It looks like a not very good place to live in, and it really is not a very good place to live in. Anya plus Yulia, best friends. And this is my alma mater, my university, the place where I studied for 5 years. I mostly studied Russian language and literature. They are open for new students now. Law, tourism, economy, foreign languages, English, Korean, Japanese, Russian language, linguistics, ecology, environmental protection, psychology, and so on. I remember that bench. I spent a lot of time sitting on it. It looks like it has never been renovated. I remember when it was freshly painted. So that's the entrance of the building. And right there, right around the corner, is the spot where students were smoking. So was I, back when I still smoked. I don't know. You know, in video games you can walk around and find some weapon just lying around. So in Russia you can also walk around and find yourself a club for self-protection. I don't think I'm gonna need it. Okay, let's keep it for another hero. Alright guys, I think that's it for today. Not because I'm running out of interesting places, but mostly because my battery is running out of its charge. Thank you very much for visiting my town. Hit the like button if you like the video and if you like Yuzhno-Sakhalinsk. And please subscribe to my channel if you want to see more of my videos. Bye!